Hello, everyone. It's me again. I'm back. And I'm really glad to be back, and I'm really glad you're here with me. If we haven't met, I am Robert Landau, Live Life Well TV host, and this is another episode of a wonderful trivia program that we load onto this channel each and every week. So there are lots of episodes. If this is your first one, you've missed a whole bunch before, and go back and watch them too. It's a lot of fun. That's the name of the game. Fun and continued learning are a wonderful combination, and our brains really clamor for that type of stimulus, input each and every day. So with that in mind, here are a bunch of trivia bits of information that I hope you will find interesting, fun, and you just need to sit back and guess if these are true or false. So here we go with the first one. True or false, folks? There are 5 strings on a ukulele. True or false? What do you think? The answer to that happens to be false. There actually happen to be 4 strings on a ukulele. Next up, true or false? Oh, actually, you know what? Before we even go there, here's a bit of information about the ukulele, because I think we all know what a ukulele is, but we might not know more about that wonderful instrument. Have you ever played it? I haven't. I think few people have, but think of what a ukulele sounds like. It has a really unique sound. You kind of know it's a ukulele when you hear it because it does not sound like a guitar or any other stringed instrument. So in case you don't know, the ukulele originated in the 19th century as a Hawaiian adaptation of an instrument from Portugal called the machete. It was a small guitar-like instrument, of course, which was introduced to Hawaii by Portuguese immigrants, mainly from Madeira and the Azores. So there you go. Next up, true or false, lanolin is obtained from sheep's wool. True or false, lanolin is obtained from sheep's wool. The answer to that is true. Next up, true or false, Ferdinand Porsche was the designer of the Volkswagen Beetle. True or false, Ferdinand Porsche was the designer of the Volkswagen Beetle. What do you think? That actually happens to be true. If you happen to ask who was responsible for creating the Volkswagen Beetle, known as the people's car, 2 names will usually come up. Adolf Hitler, who wanted that design as an affordable car for the masses, and engineer Ferdinand Porsche, who created the Beetle for Hitler. My father was from Germany and my mother was from Romania, and Mom could speak German. So my parents always spoke German with one another, so my brother and I wouldn't understand what they were saying. But when my mom heard me first pronounce Volkswagen, she said, "Robert, you don't pronounce Volkswagen, Volkswagen, it's Volkswagen." That's how they say it in Germany. Volkswagen. Everybody say it with me. Volkswagen. And actually, not too long ago, the last iteration, the last generation, the last current version of the Beetle I had. It was a wonderful car. I don't know if it was like a 2009 or something like that. It was the last time the Beetle came out. Unfortunately, they stopped making it as of last year. But I had a Volkswagen Beetle. It was black. It was turbo. It had a two-toned interior, an incredible sound system, and incredible power. It was so much fun to drive, and it had a hatch in the back, so no problem with going to the supermarket and stuff. I really do miss that car, but my lease ran out, so now I'm actually on my fourth Volkswagen. The Beetle was my second Volkswagen. So enough about Volkswagens. Let's continue with true and false with this. True or false? Johnny Cash wrote the Monkees' hit, I'm a Believer. You remember that song? True or false? Johnny Cash wrote the Monkees' I'm a Believer. What do you think? The answer happens to be false. You know who actually wrote that song for the Monkees? Neil Diamond. You remember the Monkees TV show in the 60s? I'm sure it was in the 60s. That was crazy. They were, for a while, almost as popular as the Beatles were in this country. True or false? The state of Kentucky is known as the Green Grass State. That happens to be false. Many of you might already know that Kentucky is known as the Blue Grass State. This common nickname for Kentucky is given because the vast expanses of blue grass across parts of the Commonwealth are absolutely stunning. In the spring, however, when seen from a distance, the purple-blue buds of bluegrass lend a bluish tint to the landscape. Again, absolutely beautiful. True or false? 3 US presidents have been assassinated. Think about that. 3 US presidents have been assassinated. That actually happens to be false. 4 US presidents, unfortunately, were assassinated, and they were and are Abraham Lincoln in 1865, James A. Garfield in 1881, William McKinley in 1901, and of course JFK. Remember the year? 1963. True or false? A young hare is known as a kitten. True or false? That happens to be false. A young hare is known as a leveret. L-E-V-E-R-E-T. True or false? Let's see if I can pronounce this. This is quite a mouthful to pronounce. Silismophobia, spelt P-S-E-L-L-I-S-M-O-P-H-O-B-I-A. Now you know why I had to really think before I pronounced it. Silismophobia is the fear of stuttering. What do you think, true or false? Take a guess. It's actually true. True or false? Arthur was Frank Sinatra's middle name. True or false? Arthur was Frank Sinatra's middle name. That happens to be false. I bet some of you got that one. So what was Frank Sinatra's middle name? Albert was Frank Sinatra's middle name. Francis Albert Sinatra. True or false, Pearl Harbor is situated on the Hawaiian island of Oahu. True or false, Pearl Harbor is situated on the Hawaiian island of Oahu. That is true. That is true. True or false, iron is the most abundant metal in the Earth's crust. What do you think? Take a guess. True or false? Actually, that's false. Aluminum is the most abundant metal found in the Earth's crust. And don't ask me to prove it. Next up, the trachea is the medical term for the windpipe. True or false? True. Good job. True or false? Sir Walter Scott wrote the novel Ivanhoe. True or false? Sir Walter Scott wrote the novel Ivanhoe. What do you think? Can't hear you. Actually, that happens to be true. Do you know what that famous novel is all about? Did you have to read it in school, or have you read it after school? In case you don't know, Ivanhoe is the story of one of the remaining Anglo-Saxon noble families at a time when the nobility in England was overwhelmingly Norman. It follows the Saxon protagonist, Sir Wilfrid of Ivanhoe, who is out of favor with his father for his allegiance to the Norman king, Richard the Lionheart. Yeah. True or false? Dipsophobia, a little easier to pronounce than the last phobia. Dipsophobia is the fear of crime. True or false? That happens to be false. Dipsophobia happens to be the fear of drinking. The fear of drinking. True or false? There are 8 players in a volleyball team. True or false? There are 8 players in a volleyball team. What do you think? Actually, that's false. There happen to be 6 official players in a volleyball team. And do you know the origin of volleyball? Well, if you don't, I'm going to tell you whether you like it or not, at no extra charge, by the way. Volleyball was invented in 1895 by a guy by the name of William G. Volleyball. No, just a joke. Oh my God, I think I've been doing this too long. The guy's name was actually William G. Morgan. He was the physical director of something called the Young Men's Christian Association, of course, more commonly known as the YMCA, and that happened to have been in Holyoke, Massachusetts. It was designed as an indoor sport for businessmen originally, who found the new game of basketball just a little too vigorous. So there you go. Now you know, at no extra charge. Amazing, amazing, I say. Next up for your true or false consideration is this. The top secret Area 51 is located in Nevada. Shh. The top secret Area 51 is located in Nevada. True or false? What do you think? That happens to be true. In the middle of the barren Nevada desert, there happens to be a dusty, unmarked road that leads to the front gate of Area 51. It's protected by little more than a chain link fence, a boom gate, and intimidating trespassing signs. So that's it. One would think that America's much mysticized top secret military base would be under closer guard, but make no mistake, they are watching. You would think they would be, right? It's top secret. Beyond the gate, cameras see every angle. On the distant hilltop, there's a white pickup truck with a tinted windshield peering down on everything below. Locals say the base knows every desert tortoise and jackrabbit that hops the fence. Others claim there are embedded sensors in the approaching road, which there probably are. There would have to be. It's top secret. For all the myths and legends, though, what is true is that Area 51 is real and happens to be relatively active. There may not be aliens or a moon landing movie set inside those fences, but what's happening further down that very monitored, windswept Nevada road is happening. The forbidden aspect of Area 51 is what makes people want to know what's there, says an aerospace historian and author, Peter Merlin, who's been researching Area 51 for more than 3 decades. Wow. But really, that's an interesting study, but I guess you have to be careful studying Area 51 for obvious reasons because it's top secret. But still, fascinating at that. 2 more true or false questions for you before we close this episode. Here's the second to last. True or false? Red is the predominant color of the mineral malachite. Red is the predominant color of the mineral malachite. True or false? It's false. Green is the predominant color of the mineral malachite, and it is a beautiful mineral at that. Last question for you, and here it goes. The building of the Berlin Wall began in 1961. What do you think? The building of the Berlin Wall began in 1961. The answer happens to be true. The Berlin Wall was, as you might remember, a guarded concrete barrier wall that physically and ideologically divided Berlin between the years of 1961 and 1989. Construction of the wall was commenced by the German Democratic Republic on August 13th, 1961. The official purpose of the Berlin Wall was to keep Western fascists from entering East Germany and undermining the socialist state, but it primarily served the objective of stemming mass defections from east to west. So, with that said and done, I hope you enjoyed this episode of True or False. I did, even if you didn't, but I have a feeling you did. Until the next episode, be sure to watch all programs on Live Life Well TV. This is one of 2 different trivia programs that we put on the channel each and every week. This is True or False. The other one is called Did You Know? So check that one out if you haven't already. But there are all kinds of other programs for you. Over 100 programs. Think about that, 100 programs. We have an episodic show called Health and Wellness Tips, which every week gives you important advice on health and wellness, things that you really need to know that will definitely make your life better. I also do a lecture series, 1 a week on here, called America's Greatest Personalities. And these are personalities from history, from Hollywood, from the Broadway stage, from politics. It's a fascinating series that I know you would enjoy, so give it a listen. I also do Big Band All-Stars sometimes too in that series. I also do a motivational series every week called How to Be Okay When Things Aren't, giving you the lift that you need to not only get through these times, but any time. So, that's my little commercial, probably not so little, but thanks for being here with me today. This has been Robert Landau, Live Life Well TV host. See you next time.